So Ubisoft has been going all in with the deep dives into Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay. With the extra month of delay, we've got more new reveals and likely more time for polishing and fleshing out of bugs. I also got to play the game myself recently and will have lots of videos dropping starting on January 23rd, so if you've got any extra questions on the gameplay, feel free to post them down below. Also, the giveaway for a copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows is still going. You can enter by simply being a subscriber of the channel, leaving a like on this video, and also leaving a comment down below. The winner will be announced as we get closer to launch. That being said, get ready for a more hands-on approach when it comes to exploration. In the latest blog post, Ubisoft details that there's going to be a bigger focus on cutting down map icons, making the player more involved into discovering objectives, and some nice new features and quality of life changes along the way. Specifically, starting with the map discovery, initially, regions will be displayed only by name and some vague illustrations of potential key locations, but more details will get revealed as we play and explore more, as well as the landmarks inside of them. Viewpoints is one such area that gets affected. Instead of revealing parts of the map, it now only reveals the points of interest nearby. If they haven't been discovered yet, they will show up with question marks, or if you did discover them before, you will see both the name as well as a corresponding item if that's the case. It's not like a huge change or anything, but it means there's less hand holding and less map clutter as you now get to choose manually and mark down what objectives or places you want to visit next. A peculiar detail here is that the map also features a change season indicator that's currently grayed out right under the compass. And given how significantly seasons alter the exploration and sometimes even combat, obviously this is going to be of huge importance once you do get your hands on the game. Now, they've also added more details to the eagle vision changes. This is another area worked upon and different from previous AC entries. Since you no longer have the bird companion to mark things down, you kind of become the eagle yourself. And this is going to change your rotation quite significantly, since now it means you've got more limited view of your surrounding, which means you might even miss some of the enemies, at least way more than you did before. And you may even have to risk exposing your presence to the enemy to mark them in the first place. So we have this shot right here of Naue sitting on a rooftop in broad daylight, and we can see that the detection meter is about 90% filled already, even though no enemy has spotted her just yet, implying that it would only take a glimpse from the enemy from this point on for them to spot us. In contrast to the shots during the nighttime when sneaking about, we can see that the meter in this case was constantly going up or down depending on various factors, such as passing through nearby sources of light, but also seen during rummaging through boxes and containers, i.e. when making sound, which also influences that meter. So no doubt it's the new light engine at play with some of the new AI changes, which should make things more realistic and way more dynamic than before, so sneaking around may not be as easy as it used to be. Luckily, marking enemies is still permanent, so you will know their location in real time once you do that. Also, we know that we can extinguish some of those light sources to make us go back into the shadows. But we've seen from previous gameplay reveals that at least Naue eventually will gain the ability to detect enemy presence through walls and inside of buildings. So this is likely going to help us even more in terms of stealth, especially if you choose to play with her. We also have to talk about safe houses and how allies work. Ubisoft has detailed more on that, even though they haven't released that video officially. But we already know about the leak on main base construction, base building, building your dojo and whatnot, all the customization, and we've seen some extra glimpses of it over here. But besides all of that, each region also has safe houses called Kakurage that you can acquire, and they kind of function like an extension of your main hideout. So they offer a fast travel point, they let you replenish various items like rations, ammunitions, and tools. This is the place where you can also access your gear stash, accept extra contracts, but also manage which allies can be summoned for help. So some of you were asking if an ally feature is returning in AC Shadows. Well, here's Ubisoft confirming that that's going to be the case, both in terms of recruiting allies as well as summoning them in combat. But we're going to talk about more of this feature starting January 23rd. In terms of exploration, there are some new features over here, and some of them returning actually. There's a pathfinder feature that they mentioned. You can toggle this on or off at any time, but this is basically like a Need for Speed objective tracker basically. It's very straightforward. An interesting detail here is how the quest in this footage handles objective discovery, and this is something that you can see in many of the gameplay shots. It doesn't outright tell you the exact location of your next objective, but rather it gives you a number of hints. So in this case, there's a hint about the main region the target is in, the sub-region we can find it, even the position relative to a local landmark, in this case relative to the Imperial Palace. And this kind of brings us to the scout mechanic. We've known about this for a while now, and we've seen glimpses of it as early as the gameplay reveal first from last year, but it's kind of like a sonar that compensates for when you lack the necessary clues about the precise whereabouts of an objective or a person. So using these location hints that you presumably got from the mission itself or NPC dialogues, you can then go to the map menu and choose to scout objective, the scout objective underneath the mission submenu. And it looks like it will be enough to place it relatively close to the hinted location for the target sweep to reveal that objective. As long as it's in range, you're going to eventually see it pop up. Now you can also see the current scout level further down, as some objectives will need a higher level and more scouts to uncover them in the first place. From the gameplay so far, it seems that scouts always manage to reveal the marker. However, in the blog post, Ubisoft mentions the following. So the more scouts you deploy at once, the larger the scouting radius, increasing your odds of success to find what you are looking for. No doubt implying that there will be moments later on in the game when it won't be as easy to find a target, especially a high level one, so you will have to deploy more scouts, so pretty much the level 3 ones. Now once deployed, scouts will return at the end of the season and become deployable once again after that. However, you can always pay the in-game currency at the Kakurage, so your safe houses, to speed up their return and be ready for another deployment, which is likely something that you're going to want to do. We also have to talk about the wanted system. In this case, it's called the Provincial Alert, but it functions very similarly to previous AC games. However, there is a twist. So as you commit crime, you're still going to put the province in high alert, and eventually you're going to get wanted and tracked down by deadly enemies. In this case, they are called the Guardians, so no doubt they will be very strong. But there is a twist over here, and that is if you commit a crime with one of the characters, it doesn't mean that the other one will be, in this case, wanted as well. Like if you commit a crime with, I don't know, Yasuke, Naoe did not commit any crime, so you can just switch to her and basically just continue as usual. But this also means that if you want to remove that wanted level, you kind of have a few options. You can either wait until the end of the season, which is going to happen dynamically over time, and in this case, it's just going to remove that wanted level eventually, but at the same time, you can also deploy your scouts to cancel out that provincial alert. So, like I said before, it's going to be important for you to go at your hideout and reduce the cooldown by paying that fee for them. So this is going to help a ton if you want to, for example, not have enemy patrols attacking you, not like make enemies more ready in military zones and whatnot. So it's going to help a ton with those situations. Now, besides this, we also have a smuggling feature. Back in Valhalla, there were raids. In Shadows, there's smuggling, which is useful to upgrade your hideout, but also provides other upgrades in the meantime. So you can steal resources from castles and estates belonging to wealthy clans. And these are heavily guarded areas, however, they are definitely worth it, as they feature some of these resource stockpiles that are way too big to be looted by one single person. Like in this case, we can see this huge pile of rocks. So instead, when you break into such a place, you'll flag them to be smuggled over time by your scouts. Everything else in the room, like the treasure chests and all of the other containers, can be looted right away, but this stash right here has to be marked with a flag for now so that your scouts will steal them over time. And at the end of the current season, which again progresses dynamically via the main story, all flagged stockpiles will be cashed out so that you can then upgrade your hideout. implying that if you want to be as efficient as possible and not run out of resources, especially if you want to play with the hideout mechanic, you're going to have to mark at least a few of these places up so that you can collect all of those resources at the end and at the start of the new season. Though I kind of hope it's not the only way to do this it kind of sounds a bit limiting and kind of forces you to get these things before the season ends, and if you miss them or if you forgot about them, you're going to have to wait for a new season and basically do it now again if you want to play with that build feature. But we're gonna wait and see for the full gameplay. Besides this, we also have a return to the objective board. Now they say it's been revamped, but to me it looks pretty much as it did back in Mirage. So as you play the game, complete stories, you're going to unlock more unknown targets, and there's going to be some extra objectives associated with them, and as you progressively complete those, you're going to reveal the identity of those locations. So again, looks very similar to that for me. On a final note, we have the side content. Besides castles, there's also temples to be found, hidden parkour trails, training grounds, and also sommeliers, aka black ink painting. You go in and basically just paint a subject that you find out in the wild. And we can see that they also unlock some extra decorations for your base. But every region has these side activities, as you likely got used to previous games, and there are even unique activities for either Naoe or Yasuke, so unique only to them. Because Naoe has meditation activities that reveals more about her life and her past. It kind of sounds like meditation spots or hot springs in Ghost of Tsushima to me. And there's also Yasuke. He can encounter NPCs that will teach him new weapon maneuvers. Like, we know that you can unlock some of these by performing a series of fighting moves in a specific order and with good timing, which is going to make you perform those attacks. And besides that, also some of the archery skills, the horse archery events are relegated to him, as obviously he's the one that uses the bow. Also, I gotta say that I'm loving this Ronin attire on Yasuke right here, like all the straw hats, all of the straw motifs on it, and like the side piece over there with the flag look really nice. Hopefully there's gonna be a larger selection of cosmetics like this in the game, which is likely going to be the case. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the gameplay. Let me know down below in the comments, has any of the recent gameplay made you more or less excited to play AC Shadows? I would really love to know your opinion down below in the comments. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.